Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Today is April 13th. This is the meeting of the McDowell County Board of Commissioners regular session. And we'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. We'll go ahead and start out, as always, with a prayer and a pledge. And Commissioner Walker will lead us in the prayer, and Commissioner Ellis will lead us in the pledge.
Everybody stand, please. Bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all your many blessings. Dear Lord, we thank you for your love and your mercy and your grace that we get to experience every day, dear Lord, as your children. And dear Lord, I just pray as we meet tonight, dear Lord, I pray you give us wisdom and guidance as we handle the matters of business at hand tonight. And dear Lord, I just pray that we would always seek to honor and glorify your name in all we do and say. Thank you for all your many blessings. Protect our troops, dear Lord, in the Middle East right now and around the world. And thank you for your son, Jesus, who died on the cross for our sins. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do I hear a motion we approve the meeting from the prayer?
So made.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we've had a chance to look at our agenda for tonight. Do I hear a motion we approve the agenda?
So made.
Second.
Any additions or corrections?
Not as an agenda item, but Commissioner Walker did ask about a specific item related to Fire and Rescue Department funding in a recent conversation. And I have a draft policy related to that conversation. I can get into detail later on in the county policy item. That's okay, just to put that after the prior discussion we're going to have in your old business.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next, we'll move on to item A under our appointments, waiting for the train. We have Miss Cathy Moore here tonight. Cathy, you're welcome to come to the podium.
Thank you. Let's. Okay. This seems to work. Imagine that. Okay, my name's Cathy Moore, and I'm coming on a train topic. I'm Old Fort's representative on Western North Carolina's Rail Committee. The Rail Committee, in case anybody's forgotten, their mission is to improve and expand freight service, support excursions, and reestablish passenger rail connection between Asheville and Salisbury. I'm also on the team that once a month we have the depot and the museum in Old Fort open to the public. And this is our Facebook page. And I'll come back to that where it says where the past meets the present and the future. And that's what we talk about on those Sundays and with anyone that wants to come and chat. And then the last one, waiting for the train. In 2023, a group from Burke County, 2 ladies, started waiting for the train, Burke County, Morganton, and I made a little trip down there and said, well, we want to play too, and so they said, okay. So poof magic, we now have a waiting for the train, McDowell County. So all of these are fold into why I'm here. Okay, I hit slideshow from current slide. Let's see if I can drive this machine. It almost let me do again. Okay, so a little bit of history. With Helene, you know, our county had quite a bit of damage, and not the most important thing, but the train tracks between Old Fort and Ridgecrest were totally destroyed. And many of us who have our heart associated with the railroad and with the train and with the depots here in McDowell County, we were worried and we were concerned that it was going to cost too much, you know, and that it was going to be the end of the loops, and it was going to be the end of trains getting between Old Fort and Asheville. But in May of last year Alderman meeting, there was an R.J. Corman person, and there was a Norfolk Southern person in the room, and I began getting pretty excited. And so by the end of that meeting, they had told us that they had decided to restore the tracks. And R.J. Corman was going to be the primary contractor. So like I say here, I said relief, jubilation. We were overjoyed that this was going to happen. So here comes R.J. Corman. The good news is I sort of got to know those people. They were fantastic, and not in the slideshow, but just I just got this a couple of days ago. Let me tell you what they did. They did 51,500 linear feet of piles driven, you know, those big old, I don't know, 200-300 feet pylons. They drove 51,500, and they did 50,000 feet of track. They did 140,000 tons of aggregate, including gravel and crushed stone. This isn't in the presentation, but I'll send it to Madeline. Not too long ago, I knew that they were getting close to being finished because they were giving us updates on a monthly basis. And so, you know, you start scratching your head and you think, okay, you know, this should not go unnoticed. And so we came up with an idea to say thank you, or to let them know. And it's on my slideshow, but you know, this looks better. We got 100 of these printed up, and that one doesn't look as good. And so what's going to happen, we had a test train, and a lot of people followed that. That's called a geometry train last Tuesday. But the first non-test train is coming through Old Fort Saturday, the 18th, 10 a.m.-ish, around 10, you know, because with transportation, you can't be exactly sure, but right now it's sitting at 10 o'clock Saturday. So why I'm here is to invite you to come. We're going to have a welcome back Norfolk Southern. It's going to be a rally. There's going to be a Norfolk Southern commissioner, communication, y'all are commissioners, communications director. She's going to bring some gifts and different things. And we've invited newspapers and TV folks. We've invited classic car guys and gals. If it was during the week, the elementary school was all coming up, but maybe some of them will come anyway. And so here we are inviting you to come Saturday, 10 a.m. And all these people were invited. We've kind of put the word out. So we know there'll be train chasers, and there'll be folks with cameras and drones, and hopefully enough people that I can give out 100 of these. So that's my main purpose in coming. But a few Wednesdays ago, March 18th, there was this Railroad and Regional Economic Development Conference in Morganton. It was all day. It was 140 people that paid $40 to come and listen to, you know, what about the railroad and regional economic development, about the return of passenger rail is what it was about. So there's an article that you have, and I wasn't necessarily going to click through that, but there's an article that's in front of you that says Steps Ahead, How Western North Carolina Passenger Rail Project Moves Forward. And I think I underlined in red just like 2, 4, 6 little points that I wanted to make. And the one that I remember, and the one that I can talk about without even looking at this, is that the NCDOT Deputy Secretary, her name's Julie White, she says, you've got to have skin in the game. You got to have skin in the game. You got to show you've got skin in the game. You've got to show the state legislature you've got skin in the game. Now, we're talking federal funds, in theory, you're supposed to pay 80% of everything. And then there's 4 steps, and they paid all of the first step, and they paid 90% of the second step, which we're going to go to pretty soon, and DOT's kind of said they'll pay the rest of that. So we're just talking about the 3rd and 4th step of getting us passenger rail. And in this article, it says that that's about 133 million. Well, I kind of did some math, and you probably know this long before me, but you know, if you just did it by population, I think McDowell has about 45,000 people. Well, 45,000, but Buncombe, Burke, Catawba, Iredell, McDowell, and Rowan have a little less than 1 million people, 965,000. So 45,000 only makes up less than 5% of that population. So if you took 133 and you divided it by 5%, then we're basically talking $6 million. Now, I don't have $6 million and y'all don't have $6 million, but together we could find. And reality is we don't even have to have 6 million. We just have to have skin in the game. We just have to show that we're willing to pay some part of that 6 million, because state legislature is going to pay some of it. And so I'm here to say I would like for us, me and you, for the town of Marion, the town of Olaford, and maybe economic development, maybe other people I haven't thought of, that we get together, and on down in there it says that we should be having these sessions with our RPO. Now, I can't really talk intelligently about MPOs and RPOs, but we're the only RPO. Our RPO is Foothills, something, and it's it's Polk, Rutherford, and McDowell. And so we should get somebody from that organization, and we should all get in a room, and we should figure out how we can show the state legislature we have skin in the game. Now, that's not a real big assignment, is it? Not assignment, request. So, I'd like for you to think about it, and then maybe we could have a powwow sometime. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kathy.
Oh, wow.
Very
Almost did it
interesting.
in my time. I'll let you get rid of it.
That would be exciting to see that.
I thought it was, I'm sorry.
Certainly be exciting to see that happen. I think we'd all enjoy that. Okay. Moving along now to the item B, which would be the Universal Trail Development. We have Mr. Steve Pierce here with us tonight. Steve, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much. Let me just take a moment here to try to get my program up here real quick. In business. There we go. All right. Okay, well, thanks for this opportunity to speak to you tonight. A lot of you will remember several years ago, there was a ribbon cutting at Universal Park. And I remember being there, and beautiful setting. And then just for some reason, it just kind of fell off the radar. I heard about it, maybe visited 1 or 2 other times, but it fell off our radar. But that changed when we held with the Barefoot Baby Foundation, the MTA, had a family day, a family hike. We called it the Bear Hunt Adventure last August. And there were about, at least 100 folks there, families, and we kept hearing over and over, we've never been here before, this place is great, you know, and a lot of people, as you can see in this photo, took the trail starting around the ponds and everything. We used the sort of the area in front of that. So it dawned on us that, you know, this is a hidden gem. This is something that needs to be developed. So we decided as the MTA to start to pull together some folks, the stakeholders, and see if we could get something going on developing Universal Park. So the purpose is to build Universal Park, into an outdoor recreation and trail system that benefits residents of Marion and central McDowell County, and really all of McDowell County, but then also increases tourism opportunities. And as I said, first thing we did was we pulled together the stakeholders. So McDowell Trails Association, I've got some board members here, wave, take a bow. Also McDowell Tech Community College was represented. Dr. Kelly was unable to be here tonight, but also McDowell County, County Manager Wooten attended the meetings. Aikman from McDowell County Parks and Recreation, Chuck Abernathy from from MEDA, and then also City of Marion, and then Destination McDowell, Tourism Development. Pulled together, we held 2 meetings, one in September and then a follow-up meeting in February 18th. And it was at that meeting that it was determined that everybody was enthusiastic about, let's do something with Universal Park. And the McDowell Trails Association was asked to take the lead on marshaling forces to get all this done. So we took that seriously, and I believe you have received some letters of support that we have. So you have those. You can see that all the stakeholders are enthusiastic about it, all have written letters of support for this. And so you might ask, well, why are we so excited about this? And there's lots of reasons. One is just its location. It's access, I-40, it's near Marion, downtown Marion. It's right at McDowell Tech. There's connectivity here, and the map doesn't have a lot of detail on it, but in the red circle there, that's the area where Universal is, and the Peavine Trail coming from Marion will connect with McDowell Tech, and then there's also the potential for a connection going south to the Thermal Belt Rail Trail, the Wilderness State Gateway Trail, and then because connecting to Marion, it will also connect with the Fonteclore State Trail. So a great deal of connectivity here with this park, and the park will be right at the center of that. And then just the setting itself. I mean, the 300 acres, 2 ponds, varied topography, all pluses for that. We also looked at the 2023 Tourism Master Plan, and they had a page on development priorities, and you can see hiking trails, multi-use trails, fishing areas, greenways, and so on are all things that people want to see developed and continue to be developed. So looking at the outdoor recreation opportunities for Universal Park, there's hiking, there's mountain biking, fishing, disc golf. Also, it's right there at McDowell Tech, so it can be actually an extension of their campus really for use. But it's also the early college and the McDowell Academy for Innovation are also on the campus, so McDowell County schools would benefit from it, not to mention McDowell County citizens and tourism, which we hope will continue. So what's our vision? Well, our vision, and this is a map that was produced by Jeremy Poor from the Sustainable Trails program at McDowell Tech, showing some of the potential for trails, but certainly a family-friendly 2 ponds loop trail, which is at least 2/3 completed already, a perimeter trail around the entire area, multi-use trails, mountain bike trails, the disc golf, which is in place but received some damage during Helene, so we're looking at doing upgrades on the disc golf course. Of course, the pond access, maybe better access for fishing, and in the future, looking at picnic shelters, maybe an amphitheater. You could go on and on with all the amenities that could go into this park. So we know that all this can't be done at once, so we're looking at doing a phased development. And phase 1, we have applied for a Duke Energy Foundation grant for planning purposes. We get that grant, we have money in order to do some serious planning for this. Also, a T-Mobile grant has been submitted to upgrade the disc golf course there. And we were working with McDowell Tech Sustainable Trail School, trail planning and construction, and so there's a potential for utilizing that. And we know that in this first phase, we need to address parking, traffic flow, and access issues that are there, but that's all part of the plan. you plan it and then you work for it. And so we're very excited, as you can tell, about this. There's a tremendous amount of potential here. And so our request, our ask this evening is for the McDowell County to agree to set aside Universal Park for outdoor recreation purposes. It's already a designated park, but we'd like to see it expand and be built up and further developed. And also to improve in principle the vision and plans to further develop Universal Park. So if you would capture our vision also, and then also to partner with the MTA and all the Universal Park stakeholders in developing the park. And with that, I'll answer any questions you might have.
Actually, so the first question I've got is I love the idea, wonderful. And the disc golf is a big thing, so that's great too. So I know the lower level has the ponds and the disc golf. So Steve's request is to designate that area as a park. The industrial component out there, is that going to be above where the completed building's at and then going back towards McDowell Tech?
Right, it's a great question. As you're going down College Drive, on the left-hand side, there's what's called Impact Drive now. That's the road that the county put in with federal money, and you have a building that's been constructed, and then you have grading at the end of the cul-de-sac that is hopefully going to be a future building site, and there's one or two others on that road. In the pond area, people may know, and I think you all do, but just to remind everyone, those ponds are there maybe for natural beauty and everything else, but they are for the fire suppression for the building. And so we have to keep those ponds there forever. And in order to do that, it would definitely limit our ability to use the property around them for anything else, other than maybe something like Mr. Pierce has talked about a lot tonight. So if the question is, would this conflict with any of industrial development or anything else? No, it would not, based on how things have to be out there.
I don't know if you can see the current slide. I mean, you may not, but on this aerial view, everything from the ponds and then going on that higher topography is what we're considering for the park. Everything just a little bit to the left-hand side of the ponds and where that existing building is, and all the, I think there's some other mitigation that's going on there.
Right.
That's not within the purview of the park. It's actually the steeper topography, which lends itself very well to the mountain bike trails and so on.
Mr. Chairman, it's my understanding that at this point in the request that there's no money involved. It's
Not requesting any money at this time.
Approving your plan and us moving forward.
We're planning to do our McDowell Trails Association doing fundraising, writing grants and getting grant funding. We'll just see down the road if perhaps, a little bit of help with maintenance or something like that. But right now, we are not asking for any funds. We plan to do these plans through grants and through fundraising that we do.
Mr. Chair, I want to add this too, that the McDowell Trails group, and we all know it, we've worked with them, do an awesome job. I mean, those volunteers in that group just grows constantly, the membership, and we truly respect what y'all do. And y'all are a real partner in the expansion of the trails of McDowell County.
And we value partnerships with McDowell County. We have good working relationship with the City of Marion, Town of Old Fort. So all cooperating to increase outdoor recreation here in McDowell County. It is an economic engine all to itself. Yeah.
Move that we grant the request.
Second.
Thank you.
The only question I would have had was the one that David asked, and so we're good on that, and so I support it 100%.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Appreciate all the work that you do, Steve.
Thank you very much.
You are an asset to this community.
Well, this
county.
the
And
board
you have
is.
a lot of good people behind you too.
I have a wonderful board that I work with, and just the citizens of McDowell County supporting the MTA and outdoor recreation. We appreciate that.
And Steve, that whole area down there just it's just the possibilities with that, from commercial to from industrial to the college, providing the space for the college, future growth, and the aspect of the trails going in there and further enhancing what's going on. It's great. I mean, it's just a beautiful spot.
It is. It's a beautiful spot. We've used the phrases, it's a gold mine and it's a diamond in the rough. And so we're going to hopefully develop it so it really becomes a showpiece here in McDowell County.
I was at the ribbon cutting that you first mentioned, and it was not long after that North Carolina Wildlife hosted a fishing tournament shortly after the ribbon cutting. So this spring would be a good time for them to do another.
It would be.
Yes.
It certainly would, yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve, and thank all you guys that came with you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, moving along now to item C under appointments, which will be the Parks and Rec fee proposal. And we have Mr. Aikman Kazee with us tonight. The floor is yours, sir.
And he is going to talk about the Fall Football League as
Okay.
part of his presentation as well.
Good evening. Thank you guys for having me. Before I get into my fee proposal and the youth football proposal, I wanted to give you guys a quick little update on some things that's been going on at Parks and Recreation. So first and foremost, the vault tool at the Maple Leaf Playground is complete. It is fully ADA accessible. It was fully grant funded, and it's open dawn to dusk. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on that. We have a picture here. Inside, it's got an oversized changing table, and there's enough room in the bathroom itself that a wheelchair can easily drive around in. It's plenty of space. You're not going to be bumping into walls, anything. We got safety rail in there. It's really, really nice. It's like a Mercedes-Benz of vault toilets. It's very nice. Also, around the playground area, we've done some landscaping that was covered by the grant. We planted grass. Grass is now finally starting to come up around there. It's looking really nice. We have some rock and some shrubs and bushes that have been planted. It's going to make the park look really nice. After we get a little bit more fencing in, that project will be completed, and it's all grant funded, so that's another great thing. Thanks to our friends at the TDA, we were able to do some improvements to Maple Leaf. We replaced all the shade cloths. We were able to repaint everything, including the interior of the bathrooms. We epoxied the floors. It's just a real nice kind of facelift for Maple Leaf. The fields were crowned. There was new drainage installed on the fields. So we were able to start really investing in Maple Leaf. This was kind of phase one. Phase two is hopefully going to take place this off season, and we're going to add some more signage. There's going to be painting on the backstops, on the dugouts. It says Field 1, home and away. Just kind of some wayfinding signage, just making the park look really nice. And then at Hemp Hill Park, one of the biggest things that I always saw when I was in programs and when I transitioned to director, I knew this is something that I need to get fixed, was Hemp Hill Park, the park in there. Some steps we took, the entrance, the potholes were all fixed. So, and also the entrance and entrance road, now 2 vehicles can pass by. And as long as I've known the park to exist, 2 vehicles have never been able to pass by. Now vehicles can pass by each other. The lot that was added last spring has a dedicated exit to help with traffic flow as well. And to help with the parking, we've added an overflow lot behind the T-ball field. We put up a fence and added an overflow lot. And after opening day this Saturday, it seemed to go very, very well. We didn't have a lot of parking issues down there, so we're very happy with the way that's worked out. And then just a quick general update. There's a bank erosion and pipe remediation taking place at the parking lot above the green space at the Recreation Center. They moved equipment there today. And there's also, I have some paving projects for that parking area planned after they complete the remediation. I don't want to have heavy equipment going over freshly paved parking. That would just kind of defeat the purpose of it. Babe Ruth League began play on Saturday. This year they have 72 teams and 857 participants. So we're really thankful for my staff and for the Babe Ruth League volunteers, their board. They do a tremendous job.
Hey, where do we rank in the state now with that number?
I'm not sure. I know we're one of the largest, if not the largest, in Western North Carolina. So much so that we're in talks for up to 4 state tournaments this summer. The partnership with Babe Ruth has been really, really great. They're excited to have us, and we're excited to be a part of it. We began onboarding lifeguards for our 2026 pool season. Our Black Bear Campground year-to-date has seen a 22% increase in revenue compared to 2025. The McDowell County Shooting Range has served over 1,000 patrons as of April 1st. And now after this update, I want to get into some new proposals, including the swimming pool and our youth football league. So starting with our youth football league, for the past few years, we've partnered with Burke County to have a joint league. Last year, they kind of floated the idea of having an 8-man football league due to their numbers going down. Our numbers continue to go up, where we have teams with kids of 30, 40 per team, where they're kind of struggling a little bit with 11 or 12, and as a football team, you can't have just 11, 12 kids. So I understand where they're coming from, but for us, it just doesn't make sense. So after this, I tasked the MCYFL board with, hey, let's develop some options going forward for our kids. And they knocked it out of the park. They've talked with Avery County, Mitchell County, Yancey, Owen, Rolfton, talked with a lot of surrounding counties about coming together and joining a league. And with this league, it would have a 12U division, a 10U division, and an 8U division. It would go strictly by age. There would be no grades. And for our 8U division, it's not on this slide, but it's talked about in the handout. You must be 7 by August 31st of 2026 to play. We're not going to have 6-year-olds. 7 is the youngest for tackle. And also, all of our flag leagues are still going to remain intact. So there's going to be flag leagues all the way from 4-year-olds all the way up to 12 and 13-year-olds. So that's not going to change. It's just really who we're playing. And one of the biggest pros to this is we'll have more say in the rules. In the past with Burke, we've kind of just been a part of their league. They set the rules and we follow that. With this, we'll be able to set our own rules. We'll be able to have a bigger hand in scheduling. One of the biggest issues we've had with scheduling in the past was, say we had a 10U East team and a 12U East team. They could be playing at 2 separate sites in Burke County. One could be playing at Oak Hill, one could be playing at East Burke. And that would separate families and they'd be playing at the same time. With this new league, we would have control to make sure all of our kids are playing at one site. And it would also increase the amount of home games for our kids as well. We'd be looking at 5 to 6 home games compared to 2 to 3 home games. So I think it's going to be a really great league. The MCYFL board has spent a lot of time planning into this. So I'm excited about the prospect of this and the continued growth of our league. So going on to the next, the fee schedule. So I sat down after our pool season this year and kind of looked. The prices for chemicals went up just because we have a specialized system at the recreation center. We have to use specialized chemicals or it voids the warranty on the equipment that's in there. We have to use special chlorine briquettes. So I started going around looking, and I'd argue that we have one of the nicest, if not the nicest pool in Western North Carolina now. But I went and looked at 12 public pools across Avery, Buncombe, Burke, Caldwell, and Rolfton counties, and their average admission price factored out to about $4.33 for adults, $3.75 for students, that includes children, and $4 for seniors 55 and up. So as the data shows, we charge $1.33 less per adult, $1.75 less per student, and $2.50 less per senior on average. My proposed fee schedule would be adults would be raised to $4, which would be a $1 increase. Students increased to $3, that'd be a $1 increase, and senior and child would be increased by 50 cents to $2. This would keep us under, it would still be one of the most affordable, if not the most affordable place to swim in Western North Carolina, but help offset some of the costs of the special chemicals we have to use and the rates we have to pay our lifeguards. We have to pay a competitive rate to keep lifeguards and attract more because we have to operate that pool with at least 3 lifeguards just due to the amount of people that show up for it. And another thing we're also looking at adding is lap swim and century swim. That would take place in the mornings. That was 2 of the main programs that we got a lot of feedback on, so we're going to try implementing that this summer. And I proposed as well, an individual pass, there would be no change. The family pass would be a $25 increase to $125. That would include admission to lap swim, century swim, normal pool admission, or any special events that we might do. We're looking at potentially doing some night swims, so that would include admission to that. And it's not mentioned on this slide, but it should be mentioned in the spreadsheet that you can add up to 3 more people for $10 each. So it's very affordable, and people can get their money's worth out of it within a month. And some people do. I see them every single day when the pool is open. The Marion pool rental, I propose that we charge $200. It'd still be one of the cheapest rentals in West North Carolina. It's just a $50 increase. I justify that with a slide, all the water elements, the just pure size and exclusivity of it. The Old Fort pool rental, I said we leave it at $150. There's no need to raise that. I think the $50 is justified with the Marion pool with all the added elements. And then one thing I get asked a lot is gym rentals. So currently we have a gym rental with a birthday party of $150, and we have a tournament rental for our MCYBL teams. That's $50 daily. One thing I'm looking at doing is we've had a lot of travel ball interest, so we could do a gym rental where they get the gym only for $20 an hour, and that would be primarily directed at travel ball teams and keeping that open and helping offset costs of keeping the gym open after hours. And then tournament rentals for travel ball would be $350 daily. There's a difference in the tournament rental and the tournament rental for MCYBL. The difference in that is the $350 is aimed more at travel ball and people coming in, and these are where these people will charge $500-600 per team just to come in and then take a gate. The tournament rental for MCYBL is more designated for our kids. It's sort of like the Christmas and Thanksgiving tournaments that we do, where only MCYBL teams are allowed in that tournament. They don't have to pay a fee to play in that tournament. All they're allowed to take up is the admission. And going off of that, our complex rentals, for example, Maple Leaf right now, we have a flat rate of $300 for the complex. What I want to do is have $300 to get you one field, but you still get exclusive rights to that complex. You have, people can't come in and just start practicing on all the other fields, but that just gets you one field prepped. And if you would like to add additional fields, say you have a bunch of teams and you want to run 2 fields, each field you add would be $50 more. So if you wanted Maple Leaf with 2 fields, you'd get it for $350. We've also looked into, I've talked with a lot of recreation departments around us and asked how they handle scoreboards. They've said that they have little portable scoreboards. They're about $100 to $150. We have some for our flag league. They work really well. That way they don't allow people up into their press box. They don't have to have somebody up there setting up and troubleshooting the scoreboard on a Saturday. So the $10 scoreboard would be available to rent. The renter would be able to.
That's for football, is that?
No, this would be for like Maple Leaf. So instead of us having to get up there and, because there's a lot of times on benefit tournaments, we'll get phone calls, hey, the scoreboard's not working or something along those lines. Or I don't want to say any names, but we've had some renters that the press box, it was destroyed afterwards, or not necessarily destroyed, just trash was left. So trying to limit the amount of people in and out up top there. That's really the idea behind that. And then lights would remain $10 per hour per field. And we also looked about single field rentals of $20 for 2 hours. That's more geared for practices, or if we have organizations that are wanting to come in and do like a kickball game, not necessarily a tournament, just like little team building exercises and whatnot like that, or travel ball practices.
Let's go back to the pool rental for just a second. The
Yes.
$200, what kind of time frame is that for?
So they would get 6 to 9. That's the standard. So we offer pool rentals on Fridays and Saturdays, and you get it from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. each night, and that's for Old Fort and for Marion.
And that was rented out nonstop last year.
Yes.
Yep.
We tried to rent it.
Yeah.
and
I've
had a hard time
gotten
being
no
able to
less
rent
than
it.
probably 15, 20 emails in the last week about when our pool rental is going to be available. So,
See if we're going to get your name in.
yeah, and that is part of the reason why I wanted to go ahead and get ahead of this with this fee schedule. I didn't want to change prices in the middle of the season, and someone be like, "Well, I got the pool for this price, so I had to pay this much," or change admission prices in the middle of it.
I don't think the increase is gonna hurt anyone.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the increases or staying the same as presented.
And I'll make a second on that motion. And under discussion, Mr. Chairman, I'll say he's still under the surrounding counties that surround us in the price that he's going up to. And I'll just say this, so if a young person, they pay to play Babe Ruth baseball, you provide, tell everybody who's watching what you provide.
So
And the cost?
they do a great job. They provide, so it covers the insurance, it covers their trophies, their rings, it covers their uniform, it covers their hat. So it covers a lot. It goes a long way. And the uniforms this year, I don't know if you guys have got to see them. They look great. They did a killer job.
And you're probably half of what surrounding counties charge for the uniform. and the
Yes,
play.
yes. I mean, it's not uncommon to go and see a surrounding county charging excess of $100 for it. And there's some that charge over 100 and the kids get a t-shirt. So.
And if you got 4 kids in your family, in another county, you're paying $400 minimum, versus McDowell, you're paying 4 kids $200.
Yes, yeah, that's one thing that we will always make sure that we're not trying to make a bunch of money.
And you're not turning kids
breaking.
away. If they
No,
can't pay
we will
it,
never turn a
you-
kid away, and we're always trying to just, we want to maintain the cheapest in the area while providing the best product. And I feel like we're doing a very good job at that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
I just want to say, thank you so much for how much you go looking for grants. Actually, did we ever figure out if with the city, the rezoning?
I've had some conversations with the city manager and the planning director on asking, kind of brief everyone.
Sure.
I think I've mentioned in memos and things, but Mr. Kazee worked very hard on a grant that would do some facility upgrades to our recreation center here in downtown Marion based on, I just said downtown Marion. I think it's in downtown Marion, but the zoning is not appropriate for this one grant we're looking at. It's also not in the downtown overlay area. And we did not know that going in, didn't know it was a requirement, honestly. And so all the hard work he did was for now. Reached out maybe 2 or 3 months ago to the city manager, and they've been working on some things with us. But I have asked, what would it do? And also the library, we talked about that grant. They're not in the downtown area either, according to the grant. So anyway, trying to find out what it would take to have both of those properties rezoned if it's in the county's best interest. We do have to follow zoning as it relates to a municipality where our properties are in. So we don't want to say, for a grant, we're getting that rezoned, but darn, we limited our opportunities for something else. So Mr. McNeese, who's the planning director, is doing a memo for us. And if it's in the best interest of the county, based on what I think he would think is the best interest, we'll present that request to you. So I'm not doing it, I'm doing it based on all the positivity out of it. But the grant, do you remember how much it was?
It was over $300,000.
So
That was the one for the windows and the flooring.
It would have
the bathroom.
It would have been roughly about $15,000 out of my budget to get over $300,000, and it would have been bathroom remodel, the storefront, new gym floor. It would have been a complete overhaul of the rec from the offices out. So.
Again, I don't know how it's not downtown Marion, but anyway, so we're working on that with the city, and they've been very agreeable to so far. So appreciate the.
And I can tell you, with all the improvements that you presented, one thing that stands out in my mind is safety, because you've got, when you go into the rec department here, you're going one way, out the other way, you're not coming back. You've got Maple Leaf with a fenced-in area around the playgrounds now, so kids are not going to just take off running, and mom and dad's turn their head, talking to somebody, and it runs in the parking lot. And you know how busy it is up there when games are going on. So the safety of our facilities has been greatly enhanced, especially Linwood too. Everybody's not going in and out the same road drive.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Aikman. And
Thank you.
Thank you, your staff as well. Let's move along now to item D, which would be the road renaming public hearings. Mr. Wooten.
I'll go ahead and do the background, and then if you want to have the hearing after that, I think that might be appropriate. We have an ordinance, and there's a state statute that regulates the renaming of roads, and we have received a petition for what is known as Ralph Thomas Road in Nebo. There is no sign. It's almost like a secret that you have to know where the road is, but all of the property owners on that road, which is just one person, would like that road to be renamed.
I'll make a motion, we rename that road.
Well, we have to have a hearing first.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah,
that's
yes,
right.
sir.
Maybe
So,
that-
we have to do all the things, even though it's one person. We did talk to NCDOT. We've posted in twice, or 2 different places in the township, the information, the hearing. So, staff would recommend doing it. We did talk to 911 Center, all the things that we're required to do. So if you'll do a public hearing, declare a public hearing, and then receive any comment related to this item, and then you can close out the hearing and then make the motion.
Okay. I'll declare us in public hearing mode. First question I would have is.
Yes, sir.
It's named after one person now, so it's gonna be named after another person?
A different person, the family that owns, and so for the record, the current name again is Ralph Thomas Road. The requested name is Adkins Drive, which is the last name of all of the adjacent property owners.
Okay.
And again, for people watching that might want to do this at home, we do require a majority of the property owners to have a hearing requested. The property owner is required to pay the cost of the hearing notice, which was done, as well as pay the cost of the new sign that will be installed, assuming this is approved tonight. So this isn't just because all the steps had to happen, even if it is just the one property owner.
Any other comments? Okay, we need to go out of the
Motion
public
to
hearing
go out.
mode. Okay, all in
Second.
favor? Aye. What's the pleasure of the board on this issue?
Make a motion, we go ahead and approve the name change as requested.
Second.
Got a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Wooten. Move along now to old business. Item A under old business be the water system project update. Mr. Wooten, fill these off.
Yes, sir, and I'll try to skip through most of this. Most of it is typical updates you've seen for most months in the past. The excitement in Nebo is we do have a master meter that has been installed right there in front of the attic, right there at Memorial Park Road. So we are having water flow on Memorial Park Road. That'll help with water quality and flow on the north side of our system, which is a good thing. We have not started on Randolph Road yet, but that will start as soon as the contractor is working on East End, starts to wind down that project over near the lake. I did mention in the memo we have received a grant and a combination small forgivable loan. Did receive the notification on that Friday, and so I'll have that on the agenda for next month with the actual receipt of the funding. And I said loan. We don't use the L word much when it comes to water systems. We've had one loan in the past, I think about $495,000. This is smaller than that, to my recollection, and it will be paid off over 20 years with no interest. So it's about as good of a loan as you can get. It is not 100% grant. It had just a little bit of a loan in this one, and also for the next area over near West Marion Elementary. I mentioned in your memo here on that project, we had the State Historic Preservation Review on Sugar Hill Road, Marla Road, and Zion Hill Road, where the planned waterline work is to happen. They are doing some field evaluation, and then there's some lab work. So they take those, probably shovel digging they did, and they take some things back to a lab. I'm assuming they're looking for arrowheads and that sort of thing, but there's nothing of concern really of that area. It's just mostly in the ditch line. And I mentioned again, remind you that we did receive funding from Marler and Zion Hill, and again, it's almost all grant, but a small loan, again, to be paid over 20 years at no interest. So as good as you can get. I think most of the rest of it is update. We did initiate, I think Wednesday of this week, we will have a kickoff meeting for the preliminary engineering report that you requested last month for the community, the Arrowhead development, to determine if there's a need and interest for water in that community based on the number of houses and that sort of thing. And then what the cost would be. And so that's 100% grant funding for that report that we're receiving through partnership with the Southwestern Commission. Any questions about water update?
Thank you for that report, Mr. Wood. Let's move on now to item B, which will be the county policy discussion and approvals, Mr. Wood.
Thank you. I'll hit the two older items and then just hit really quick on the fire item I mentioned earlier. You talked several months, and then most recently, maybe about 2 months ago, what we call the employee service recognition policy. This is very typical where counties, cities, et cetera, have a policy where they recognize staff after they've worked for a number of years, and it can be, small lapel pin, and things of that relatively minimal monetary value, and that's done at 5, 10, 15 years, et cetera. You asked after the first time that at least the consensus that staff understood was for folks that were at the end of their career, especially retirement oriented, that they be able to use accumulated leave to get some of those milestones. For example, if they were 5 months from hitting 30 years or 18 months or whatever it might be, if they had the accumulated leave, that they'd be able to count that towards getting that 30 years. I don't know if it was a universal feeling, but a comment that resulted in that language being inserted was, well, they earned that leave, should that not count towards getting their years of service? So again, that was presented, I think, 2 months ago. I haven't changed it since 2 months ago. Glad to change it again, but I think it meets what you were asking for the last time we talked about it.
I don't have a problem with the policy, but I think one of your questions was, how do we look at the policy? Do we look forward or do we look back at previous employees?
Yeah, that wasn't part of the section.
My personal opinion is that if we look back, the only way to do that fairly is that we do it for every employee that left under those circumstances, or look forward, which would eliminate all of that. And my opinion would be that we look forward, because if you look back, you're going to have one that receives that benefit and another one that don't, simply because they didn't know about it. But I think we need to look forward myself.
Are there other counties that do this?
It seems to be,
In the private industry, it's your sick time or leave is when you retire, you've lost it. And
right.
I don't see it. So, I mean, I understand that, but I'm interested in knowing more about our other government entities, other counties doing this.
As far as things like service pins and, that sort of thing, the impression I have is that it's relatively common. Maybe years ago it was something different, but there's probably...
And it's just for the length of service, it's not for paying.
Right. So this is, we have longevity pay for, and that's a whole different ball game than this is. Thank you for being here 5 years. Here's a pen, or the $50 or less actually equivalent to that pen. So for some people, a lapel pin goes in a drawer. For some people, it's a point of pride. I've seen some people, put them on, display in their office. So it's all in the eye of the beholder, I suppose. And before, again, for people, this is a long-standing practice, or whatever you want to call it, of as long as I've been here, and I think a long time before that, but there's never been a policy. It's just, this is what we've done. We hand out a pen for somebody that's been here this long, and that's how it goes.
But the question is, are we going to allow them to use that accumulated time toward that service pen, or monetary, whichever? Are we going to allow them to use that time?
And do you look back or forward? So.
Any other questions?
I'll state my opinion. I think that you use the word earned. When an employee works long and hard in McDowell County and been faithful and given their best, and I like the fact they can use their sick time or vacation time and retire up because they've earned it. And I have no issue with that whatsoever. I am in favor of the policy as you have made the revisions, Mr. Wooten. And as far as looking forward or back, I think if they've earned it, send a letter out stating there's been a policy change. And if you so desire to receive it, contact the county personnel because they have earned it.
Do you have any idea how many people that would be?
No, I don't. One of the challenges we have is once people leave our employment, we have no way of keeping track. The retirement system can and does, but and people, our staff changes, and so somebody would have to come in and present, which I'm sure they probably have some sort of proof, paid stub or something that says I used to work here. But we have people in our HR department that haven't been here. None of them have been here longer than 5 years, and so we do have records. We do keep employment records going back, but it could take some effort. I don't know if it's 5 minutes or 5 hours to verify the length of service and different things for people going back, as opposed to.
I think if you went back, I think you should put a term limit on it, a time limit on it. You know, if you're going to go backwards, I think you shouldn't go back more than 5 years or whatever.
It's verifiable.
Yeah.
Currently, you can use vacation time too for that. You just can't use your leave time.
For the current service situation,
Right.
it is the days you worked and you were sitting in that seat. It factors nothing else in. It doesn't factor in vacation, sick, or anything else. Now, retirement is a whole different situation. That's rules governed by the state. They give you credit for sick leave towards your retirement, but we had never done that for service.
But this is the first time that anyone has ever even come back and questioned, isn't it?
That I'm aware of.
Evidently, it's not an issue, with most people.
What kind of a burden is it gonna put on their finance department to keep up with all of that?
Or would it be finance or would it be HR?
Currently, finance handles the recognition process.
I know one former county employee, he's gonna be mighty disappointed if he don't get to use his. Because I had about 19 months. And I think if a person has worked that long and has, as David said, worked faithful, and the time that they could have used, but they didn't, they worked. And they didn't take all of that time off, because some people, every time they earn a day of vacation, they're gonna take it. But then you've got an employee that is faithful to you. Somewhere or other, he needs to be compensated, he or she. Or you just don't do it.
So what's needed today?
I'll make a motion when you're ready.
You make a motion what?
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the McDowell County Employee Service Recognition policy as presented, and allow staff to send out a letter stating there's been a policy change to former employees, and if they respond and desire to utilize that, it's verified, then they are given that option that's recommended in the policy.
I'll wait for the second comment.
You waived the second comment?
No, I'll wait for the
Wait
second.
on a second.
I can't do that,
Uh,
if there is one.
Do we have a second?
So you're saying they'd be able to use their sick leave and to go towards the retirement, but also be able to go back and get other kind of employees?
That's verifiable. It's got to be verifiable, however you term that.
How would you, you're saying send a letter,
We don't
you've
have
lost
that.
communication with all those people.
That's the comment.
That's the
we
problem.
don't have that, and this has come up for other things. We don't have a way to keep up with
So
people.
that's gonna be hard to do.
I'm open to amend the motion to maybe state, put a notice in the paper.
You're gonna put a lot of work, extra work on, people that are retired, and if people have retired,
Or
it is
my
what it
initial-
is. I'm gonna be against it either way. So, I mean, it's, just because I feel like if they use vacation, I'm for that. Sick leave is for when people are sick, they are, they have their job when they come back. And it's not anything to do with, you know, that's from my perspective, and I'm in the private industry, so.
A motion without a second is dead.
That's true.
Okay. That motion is dead. Do we have any other motion?
Could I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Could we approve the policy as we're currently doing it? Where I would take the red out and just say, this is what it is right now, and, because I don't think you're at a consensus point. And then for everybody else that's looked and reached out, just say, you know, it may come up again, so hold your papers or whatever else, but just to move on, because I think this is the 4th time we've talked about it.
Make the motion.
Okay.
So, and this is just to accept it the way it is, not go back. My thing is the going back part. I don't know how we would accomplish
does
the
away
going
with
back. So,
And my recommendation was to take out the counting
Yes.
I
sick
don't see
leave,
how you could go
vacation,
back.
or,
I don't see how you could go back on it.
That's
It's
where
gonna be
I-
really tough, yeah.
Well,
I would be
technically,
okay
don't
with
have to
honoring
advertise it,
those
so
that
somebody
have
comes up and wants
submitted at this point in time, whether it be 1, 2, or 3. I'd be okay with granting theirs, but, you know, we can't go back and find these people 10, 20 years ago. So I would say move forward.
The motion is to accept the policy without the addition of a retiring employee can use accumulated sick leave to reach a service milestone. We do away with that.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
so we're not letting them use sick.
No, that's the motion.
But they can use vacation.
no.
No,
It's not in
they
his-
don't use
What
any.
I'm saying would just
Not
be,
his-
just to move it on. And revisit another day,
We need to
maybe.
move on.
Okay.
Is that a second?
I think we need to move on. I'm not second.
Well, we got to vote. We've got,
It wasn't a
he's asked,
second.
we got to vote up or down.
My motion be dead too if
Well,
there's no
his is
second.
dead too. We're just gonna have
Yours
to
dead too?
move on.
Move on until it comes up again.
It needs to be taken care of.
So, Mr. Wooten, how are you going to handle these employees when they call you former employees? Just say it's the
They need
same?
to work until their time.
Okay?
I would tell them the same thing they've been told for 30 years. I'm sorry you
Right.
didn't work the time, that's the way things are, and the board can always change it, but if you're not there, you're not there. And if y'all want to vote on it, that's up to y'all, but
There's nothing to vote on now. Lynn's right, there's no
Keep-
second.
keep
so
it
The
going.
the policy stands as is at this point.
That's
in time.
correct.
There
current,
is no policy.
Okay.
No, the policy is what's been going on.
But is that,
He's
is
been,
that in
he's
writing?
been telling people that you have to work.
But is that in writing?
it's not, no, sir.
So you don't have a policy? It's just a.
We just have a practice, right, we have a practice, and so
Practice, yeah.
the request, again, is to just memorialize what we're doing in practice, just to have it on paper, and then maybe another day revisit to iron out.
Why don't
What you
we
have
just
been-
go ahead and make the practice a policy?
What you have been doing is what is written right here.
I'll
correct?
make a motion, we make the
Minus-
practice a policy tonight.
Minus, right,
That's what's right here in front of us.
Minus the red.
Minus the red. Second.
All right, we have a motion second on that now. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Maybe the next time I'll be quicker. Can I talk about talk about nepotism,
Yeah.
an easy topic?
Okay, let's get away from that and move on.
Thank you.
Let's go to new business.
Well.
Oh, you got
uh,
another
got-
something? I'm sorry,
I'll be
go ahead.
really quick. Again, I don't always bring these up. I respond to to you guys, and I'm trying to respond to what you want to do. So concern was brought up about our nepotism policy as it relates to the employment of family members in our county agencies. Recognizing that, as I told Mr. Walker earlier today, our old policy was pretty light, that it just pretty much said a family member cannot cannot supervise another family member in a county agency. And I'll say really quick, when I say county agency, I'm not talking about the sheriff's office, I'm not talking about the Register of Deeds office. There's a special statute for both of those that is outside of the discussion. So if anyone hears and thinks I'm not talking about them. And so the policy just said you cannot supervise family member. We had family members working in very close proximity in some of our departments that didn't really feel professional, to be frank, to have what we had. And so the policy, we didn't do anything to those folks. But once they left, it really felt like a good time to look at it. The policy probably went a little, maybe too far the other way, where there's a long list of family connections where you cannot work together. And it's pretty safe. But anyway, the discussion was held a couple of weeks ago that maybe it was too much. So what you have here is trying to strike that balance. It still says that a family member cannot supervise another family member. It does allow for family members, which again, for the policy, for people watching, it excluded sister-in-laws and brothers-in-laws and different things where in a small town, small county, that can be very limiting. And so the draft policy language that we'd ask you to approve is as long as those family members are not supervising each other and the department head can certify that they're not in frequent and regular interaction communication, that it still can maybe have them work in a large department that doesn't, crossing professional
I'm
lines.
good with that.
Not working in the same cubicle.
Right, or even worse.
Move to approve the policy as presented.
Second.
All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
And
Mr.
then
Wood.
the one item that I asked to introduce tonight, we talk about practices, procedures, and policies. And sometimes staff, going back decades or even longer perhaps, will have different practices and procedures that staff will do, often with board knowledge, but sometimes it's just one of those things to keep the machinery moving. One of those areas has to do with fire and rescue funding. And so just for folks' edification, the Board of Commissioners, talking about taxes, you set what is called a service district tax rate. So everyone in this county pays it's also known as a fire tax. You pay a fire tax in addition to other taxes. This board sets that rate. Typically what has happened since Mr. Abernathy was manager, probably before that, a department requested an increase, would reach out and say, I'd like to present an increase request to the Board of Commissioners. Mr. Abernathy had a practice of meeting with the department and understanding more of what's going on, and staff added or equipment or whatever else. And I've continued to do that. Done it maybe outside of COVID, there were some different times there, but generally meet with the department, with finance director, with emergency services staff. Just have a conversation. Just say, how are things going? Tell us a little bit more about your request. I am not the roadblock. I am just along the journey to a presentation. And so the idea is for when we're in this room with the department here, Mr. Wooten, Ms. Bell, have you spoken with the departments? Do you understand their needs? I'm giving you information, and I'm not hearing it from the first time when they're here presenting. It's just common sense and due diligence. And so you get back to practices and procedures. About 5 years ago, I had a draft policy. It was not presented at that time. It was coming out of COVID. There was something going on with one of the, I can't remember honestly, but things in life happen. And so as departments have started to reach out, and there have been a few, and I've mentioned those to you, I think Mr. Walker, giving you lots of credit tonight, said, do you have a policy about this? I said, no, we do not have a policy. It's just been a practice, but I do have a draft policy. And so as one member, Mr. Walker, asked that I blow the dust off of it and bring it back for you to look at tonight. And what I would recommend and suggest, this is really no different than what we asked for. There is more detail, honestly, though, about what their 5-year goals are, what their fleet is all about, some other, roster and different things. That is probably more detail than we currently are getting. But I would ask that we not implement this for the current year, because we're past the February 15th date. It's a lot for department to throw together in the time we have.
I agree.
But I would ask that this be a first reading, and then for anybody that's asking for an increase this year, that they still provide what's necessary, of course, for your decision. But the additional, just wait for next year, assuming you pass the policy at a future meeting.
Mr. Wooten, has this been given to the leadership of the fire departments,
No, sir. It has been previously discussed with Mr. Washburn, who's the chair of the Fire Commission. The suggestion, you want to make it?
I think that the fire commission, those chiefs ought to have a chance to look at this and give input too before we just go and create a policy for next year.
I'm with
That I'm totally, I don't want to blindside,
Sure.
and I do the board that we don't want to blindside people who are volunteering and working hard out there to protect property and life. And they got enough, they're accountable currently. So I think they need to review this and have input, is my opinion.
I think the board would all agree on that, if you will. Just get with them and then
There's
come
no,
back.
part of the pun, there's nothing on fire with it. And again, this would go into effect, assuming you pass
you got
it for
plenty of
next
time.
year. So
Mhm.
just to respond to the interest of, and again, we have a meeting scheduled with them in early May, mid-May, and it's a good time to talk about it. And again, generally every time we've had these discussions, everyone's been forthcoming. They understand it's public money they're receiving. They understand that, yes, there's scrutiny. You need to be able to answer as best you can to your taxpayers why an increase is happening. And you're able to do that usually because you get a good information already from them, but this will just help even more.
Oh,
It'll
yeah,
help
I think
them
it
too.
improves
Yeah,
it for sure.
we need it for defense.
And they're good. I'll say this, Mr. Chairman, our fire departments are very good. They're very respectful to make sure there's a true need, as you said, Mr. Wood, because it's county taxpayers' money, and but they got to have the equipment. So I appreciate the fact that they take their time, and when they ask, there's always good justification for the ask.
Thank you.
Our emergency services, fire rescue, sheriff's department, EMS, they're all great, do a great job, and we certainly need them. Okay, you can just get back with us then on that, Mr. Wood. All right, now we move along to new business. Item A would be the recycling grant award and approval, Mr. Wooten.
Yes, sir. We received a $580,000 grant from NCDQ. This is for Helene impacted communities. It was specific to recycling infrastructure, and so we have proposed to buy roll-off compactors at our convenience sites, as well as a roll-off truck. So we had a great award there. It was pretty much the full amount. Would ask that you allow for the receipt of the funding and the manager be able to sign the award.
Mr. Chair, make a motion to approve the receipt of funding and allow staff to sign off on any necessary award documents.
Second.
Second, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
One quick question. Do we have cameras now at our convenience? I know that a lot of times there's complaints where somebody illegally dumps after hours. Do we have cameras?
That was brought up and approved probably a year ago. Wasn't it?
We may or may not have them.
I'll go ahead and I won't make a motion, but I'll by consensus, I want to say that that needs to happen, because we need to catch people who are out there dumping trash and making our convenience center.
And if you understand the point of it, I mean, we, you know, make sure we're keeping an eye on the sites, but we'll make sure and double check that they are in place.
Okay. Item B, which would be the digital accessibility requirements, Mr. Wood.
Yes, sir. And so this is information, you may get emails about these from salespeople too, but I'll be glad to forward any of those that I get. But when there tends to be a law change, we tend to get a lot of outreach from vendors. But it is real. So the U.S. Department of Justice is implementing a new rule based on their ability under the Americans with Disability Act to impose those rules, that county governments of any sort must implement changes to their digital infrastructure, meaning websites, social media, video recordings, to make sure folks with different physical abilities have the same ability to interact with us as anyone does not have those disabilities. And so I'm not asking to spend money right now, I'm not asking to do anything at this point, but we will need to make sure that our website is compliant, that someone who is using an audio reader, if they're visually impaired, we need to make sure that we're compliant. The video that people are watching or listening to perhaps right now, if they are again visually impaired, we have to make sure that we, on the visually impaired part, Mr. Pierce was showing a map earlier. Some of the guidance that I've seen perhaps would require us to have a description of that map. And so he did a great job of explaining, this is a map of the area, that kind of thing, but that might be the bare minimum, but there's something to think about on the audio description. But for folks that are hard of hearing, we have to implement closed captioning for our meetings. And so staff is looking in on our video as well. But these are some areas where we have tried to and done a really good job with having a basic website that is attractive and meets all the minimum requirements as far as information, but we may not meet the requirements as it comes to accessibility. So as much as I don't like to spend money on things that we can get away with for free, with our staff doing a really good job on it, this might be an area we might have to spend money to avoid potential legal issues.
Okay.
And so I'm going to do my best I can to see if we can make it, but I might have to include something in the budget.
Okay, thank you for that.
Just awareness right now.
All right, let's move on to the fire inspection update and approvals.
Thank you. We talk a lot about history tonight. Two historical situations that we have seen with our City of Marion partners. And if there's a piece of paper related to both of these, we cannot find it, and that's maybe okay. But at some point, there's a good possibility probably that the Board of Commissioners in the past delegated two authorities to the city. One involves the ability to approve fireworks shows, pyrotechnic shows as the statute calls it, and the other has to do with doing fire inspections in the county schools inside the city limits. Both of those things are happening. They're approving fireworks shows inside the city limits. They are doing fire inspections inside the city limits in the schools. Mr. Ayers is unable to find those actual documents or delegation. So I'm asking for both to be approved by resolution. There's some language about interlocal agreement. I hate to say ignore what's in front of you, but I don't think at this point we need an interlocal on either one. I think the resolution covers it fine for now. But if we needed an interlocal for either, I would definitely bring that back. I think there's some language that I didn't really like in the template, as was pointed out, but I'm not going to sign an interlocal without you adopting it. So I think the resolution gets both of them accomplished.
Mr. Chair, make a motion we approve the resolution per the request of the county manager.
Second.
With the deletion of the interlocal agreement language in the document.
Perfect.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, is the, schools out of the town, are they checked?
Yes, sir.
County does that.
So for Old Fort Elementary.
On the same rate, at the same, well,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
They are inspected.
I'm good.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And the one, thank you, the one update item here, I've mentioned this in other communication. This has been a discussion, point of discussion with our leadership and inspections for some time, is to move what seems to be typical for many counties, is to move the fire inspection responsibility under the fire marshal, which in our county is in emergency services. And so that position would report to Mr. Presley, who reports to Mr. Keller, and they would tighten the, the relationship that's there with our fire departments as well. So this will be proposed for
As
July
it should.
1st and accomplished in the budget.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move to item D, which would be the Gold Rush 5K road closure approval, Mr. Wooten.
This is typical. They ask for it every year and recommend approval.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the Commissioner Board and Committee appointments, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Chairman. This is a first reading for applications received for the Transportation Advisory Board and McDowell Tech Board of Trustees. There are 3 applications for the Transportation Advisory Board. Term limits of Donna Ledbetter and Amy Stevens are expiring, and they've both applied to be reappointed. The other is for Lacey Coward, and she's applying to fill a vacancy. There's 1 application for the McDowell Tech Board of Trustees, and Brenda Vaughn has applied for reappointment because her term limit is expiring. And Mr. Chad Marsh has submitted his resignation from McDowell Tech Board of Trustees.
This is also a first reading.
Yes.
Okay, no action tonight.
And I will note, Mr. Marsh's resignation was immediately. So I don't know if that changes your mind on that, if you want to wait
Well,
until next
I
month.
think,
It's up to you.
We could go ahead and act on that one, since
It's my understanding that we may have another application besides Ms. Vaughn.
Yes.
Do we have that with us tonight?
Yes. It's Amy Dowdle.
Now, Ms. Vaughn is doing it for herself.
Yeah, she's.
Chad is getting out, and this is an open position, which we only have 1 applicant.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm good to put Amy Dowdle in there if there is no limit on days of
Do we
having,
need-
have it posted or
Do we
anything
need
like
to have a motion to waive the first reading?
You can do it as part of the motion
Okay.
to appoint if you would like to do so.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion for the McDowell Tech trustee appointments. I make a motion we waive and move to accept Amy Dowdle to replace Chad Marsh and reappoint Brenda Vaughn.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on that. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's all there, Mr. Wooten. Let's move now to item F, which would be the budget update and approval.
Thank you. You have information updates in there. You also have several project amendments that were emailed out to you, including your packet tonight, as well as budget amendments GF 41 through 48, and then 5 different other ones related to other project costs, like the school project fund and enterprise fund, et cetera.
We
Glad to
approve the
answer any
budget
questions.
amendment.
Second.
Got a motion and a second that we approve as read. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Let's move on now to the administrative items for review and approval, Mr. Wooten.
Thank you. You only have 2. It's the EMS transport write-offs for this month and the water system leak waivers. There's quite a handful there this month.
Pleasure of the board.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, let's move to item H, would be the property tax releases and refunds and discoveries, Mr. Wooten.
There's releases over 100 and the motor vehicle refunds, and that's all this month.
Move, we approve tax matter.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll move on now to citizen comments. How many do we have signed up for you?
Can I ask 2?
Yes, go ahead.
One, do you have any, I know, well, there's a lot there, but there's time, but would you like to send a letter from the board?
I think the board should.
I want to make a
expressing
motion that
some
we
of,
do
you
that.
know,
I'll make
Yeah,
a
I think
motion.
the board
some
should.
reservations.
Yes, that's the purpose of getting that
Yes, sir.
petition and sending a copy of that with a letter from the board.
And I would like to see including language in that letter, you draft it and let the board proof it. But I think that, my earlier request to have the planning board look at that and possibly bring recommendations back,
Can that be a second motion?
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion, and
What was the motion?
that we
The
send a
board
letter,
draft a
we
letter
take
in
the petition
opposition.
they've got and combine it with a letter from the Board of Commissioners.
Y'all know what the
stating-
closing attorney's name is?
I do not, we can try to find out.
Because, I mean, who would we send that to if we wrote a letter?
I think we've got a card or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have applied for permitting, they've had to apply for permitting, I'm sure. or they
We
would
can
apply
find-
for purchase.
Yeah,
Out of Winston-Salem.
I second the motion.
okay, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next motion was,
I would like to make a motion that we have our planning board review and bring back recommendations for the location of any future group home type setting that's non-residential. Now, I'm open to amend, so if you got comments, feel free to interject, and I can always amend.
I don't know that you could specifically just identify it as that in particular. I mean, you'd have to broaden it to a lot of different.
Group homes, therapy.
That's
therapy.
not a group home, that's a
This is a
behavioral.
behavioral.
Yeah, that's completely different.
It's
than a group home.
as I understand it, inpatient treatment facility.
Yes.
Would that include, the homeless shelters?
Well,
Yes.
that's where I'm coming from. You're gonna very quickly get into your, to a
Can I make a
discrimination.
Can I make a suggestion to the board that your motion charge the county attorney and the manager to look into what's legal under our current, which we don't regulate anything, we don't have the ability right now because of zoning, but before sending it to the planning board to research and talk to Mr. Harmon.
That's your motion, right?
I'm very.
I second that
amendment, so that is my new motion.
All right. Any discussion on that?
Simply sending it to the planning board.
Waiting on
Just
that.
sending it to
County
the
manager.
county.
County manager
Have staff
and
come
the
back
attorney.
about what legalities and
I second the motion.
it could be too broad,
Yes.
perhaps.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
You ready for my motion?
Yeah.
Let's adjourn.
Let's see, citizen comments. We have any other comments? Okay, thank you, guys, and we hope we can help you.
Thank you.
Commissioner staff reports, anything?
With the budget coming up into June, are we going to listen to all nonprofits as we normally do? Just asking the question.
That's up to you guys and your
And
preference to
to
have.
tie in on what Pat was saying there, Mr. Wood and board, I think that, if we are, I would like some kind of policy. We have a policy that regulates or dictates or asks or requests for any
Throwing out some big words.
non-county group that wants funding, what's expected and required of that group and what we can ask for as part of their request to get public money and funding.
Why can't we have the same policy that we have with the fire department?
We do have a nonprofit funded policy that affects the nonprofits that receive funding. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but they're required to provide essentially the same, if not more, than the fire departments do.
Can you email the board that policy? I'd like to see it, too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Now make your motion.
Let's adjourn.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.